Hey everybody, what's up? This is Jack with Spy Pie Gaming, and welcome to SGTV. Today's video is going to be, it's going to be a gold farming video, and this is not going to be your typical clickbait, make millions of gold in a couple of hours, or all that stuff that you see out there. I'm not poking any hate or directing any hate at any of the other content creators for this game. I just I know what's realistic and what's not from having played it. So we're going to cover 6 different methods that are consistent and doable. They're doable and consistently profitable and available to essentially every player. And I'm going to go through them one by one and demonstrate, some areas to do it in and things like that. So, some of it may be, some of it's going to be real basic, and believe it or not, sometimes the basics are the best. It just is, that's how ESO is built. Some of it is luck of the draw. Some of it is, anyway, we'll get into it. So the first one that I want to cover is going to be daily crafting writs. So we'll just go ahead and jump into it. If you have not picked up, whether you're a new player or a seasoned player, if you're not doing your daily crafting writs, you are missing out on a few thousand gold, per character per day. It depends how many characters you have, but you should be doing these, because once you turn them in, you get items that are, I forget what exactly it's called. I'll point it out once I turn the writs in. But you get items that are worth more when you sell them, and that's a good, consistent, stable daily source of income, right? There are very few opportunities in this game to make tons of gold off of, like just one transaction. They do exist. We have a video on the channel. It's the Looming Shadows daily quest in Gold Coast. But see, I got a Citric Ambrosia, Cuda. You get gold materials, you get purple materials. Oops, wrong button. So, once you've turned in all of these, and you get, there we go. All right, now they've all been completed. So we're going to go over here to the merchant, and I think it's ornate is what it actually is. So you go over to the sell tab, ornate. So you get a couple of them that are ornate. You have some, if you have points put into where you craft, whenever you craft a food or a drink item, you'll end up with leftovers that you can sell. You get glyphs that you can sell. You get plenty of stuff that you can sell. Now, see, I get this recipe for Citric Ambrosia, which is how you go about making money off this. You wouldn't want to sell it to the merchant. How you go about making money off of this is something that I will cover in this video. But you also get, all this white gear you can get rid of. And you also actually get surveys from this. So if some of the things that I cover are a little bit rudimentary, I apologize, but the reality is it's just that simple is what it is, right? So that's good for, you know, several thousand gold a day. You know, games like this are very grindy, especially if they're built like this one, where it's reminiscent of older like MMOs and RPGs, where things are designed to be, you know, take time and require you to grind. Hey, just walk in front of me. Anyway, so anyhow, that is method number 1. That is a consistent way to make gold. It's doable for everyone. It doesn't require all you have to do is pick up the crafting certifications, which is, you know, if on your main character or on a character, I would highly suggest that you have at least one character that is dedicated to crafting. Or do it on your main. You know, this is my first character. It is my main character. It has the most skill points. So I just decided, all right, I'm good. You know, this character is going to have everything. So anyhow, daily crafting writs is the first method. It is very simple, but it works. So we're going to go ahead and move into method number 2. All right, everybody. So we are now going to be talking about method number 2, which is farming dungeons for gold. Now this can be done with really any dungeon. It can be done with group content. It can be done with public dungeons. It can be done with it can be done with dolmens. Dungeons just happen to have a lot of ads, and generally speaking, there are not quite as many people there. So the one that I'm going to demonstrate real quick is the Forgotten Crypts, which, yes, this is the same dungeon that Spy had demonstrated how to power level in. It is in Deshaun, and you can come into the Quarantine Cirque Way Shrine, or you can come in to Deshaun at the Obsidian Gorge Way Shrine. I picked this one. It's the Forgotten Crypts public dungeon. I picked this one because this is in a base game zone, and so that's puts it within anybody's reach to do. Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and run down there. And my mini map is apparently acting crazy again, which is fine. But anyhow, so the reason that dungeons are good for farming gold is you get a lot of loot. You get gold and experience for killing things, so you're really knocking out a couple of birds with one stone, so to speak. But you also get, so aside from the experience and the loot that you get, you also get, or aside from the experience and gold that you get from killing things, you also get loot that can be sold. And there's a couple of different ways to go by doing that. So, anyhow, you just kind of run the circuit as demonstrated, by Spy the other day, and you can go through and kill all the bosses and everything. And I'm probably not going to run the entire thing, but just to give you an idea, it's so you know, 80 gold from that. Just make sure you loot everything that you kill, and you'll be good. And then, as you're going through here, you know, you're going to end up with plenty of loot. You get gold from killing stuff, which is why I don't like to skip ads. If you've been watching anything on the channel, you'll know that I'm not big on skipping ads. Nah, I didn't make it quick enough. Anyhow, so goodness, there's people here. This is one thing you do run into, and Spy talked about it a little bit in his demonstration. Anyhow, let's see if we can get to a boss before everyone else does. All right, let's go over here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, boss. Okay, alright, so we got a Shield of Mother Sorrow from that. That can be sold, and it can actually be sold in a couple of different places. One of which being to a merchant, and the other being on the guild traders. Now, that is, if you don't know, it's something I will cover, just so everybody, you know, in case there's anyone new to the game watching. Alright, we got a Battle Axe of Mother Sorrow. I don't have enough stamina to get out of that. That's a little bit irritating, but it is what it is. Alright. So, let's go back this way. Wait a minute. I think it is... Nope. I haven't been in here in a little bit, so you have to excuse my forgetfulness. Battle Axe of Mother Sorrow. And it is worth, I know it seems probably like it's not necessarily worth running and doing all this, but see, you do this and you get a champion point, or you get experience for doing what you're doing. You get gold for killing things, you get loot for killing things. It's, you know, it's an all around, it's just a good thing to do. Anyhow, so yeah, this particular method, you'll get more high quality gear out of dungeons that are group dungeons, but it's, you know, it's negligible. It's not, you know, if you don't need it, sell it, or if you just don't care to have it, sell it. Anyhow, so that is method number 2, grinding dungeons for gold farming. Now, before moving on to the next one, I am going to suggest those two. So the 2 methods we've covered already are methods that can be done by, you know, whoever. For the next ones, I'm going to suggest this, and it's really, you only get the benefit out of it if you do, but what you would want to do is to go into guilds and go to, I bet it won't let me look because I am in the maximum amount of guilds. So what you would want to do is go into the guild tab and you would search for a trading guild, such as the one here that I'm in. I'm in a couple of trading guilds like Market Palace and IKEA Home Furnishings. These are trading guilds, and you want to make sure they have a guild trader. It's not, I know that, you know, there's a big thing or one of the big things when it comes to trading guilds is they like to have traders that are in prime locations, which generally means heavily populated locations, because oftentimes the player base will just go to a guild trader, and if they have it, they'll buy it. There are ways, such as what is it, Tamriel Trade Center. You can go to their website and search, by the lowest priced item that you're looking for. Not that many people really, or not that many players actually do that. I'm guilty of not doing it. And it's not always reliable because someone may have beat you to it. So, but for the methods that we're getting ready to cover, with the exception of one, you'll want to be in a trading guild to take full advantage of it. So, all right, everybody, for method number 3, I figured I'd go ahead and cover the other one that doesn't necessarily require you to be in a guild to take full advantage of the method being used. So this method is stealing for farming gold. Now, this one is a bit tricky. Currently we are here in Wayrest, which is located in oh, that's not cool. We're in alright, Stormhaven. Had a brain fart there. Anyway, so I picked Wayrest because there are nobles here. Actually, you know what? Look, before I get into it, so stealing for gold is a little bit tricky, and here's why. You need to level Ledger Domain, which we do have guides for on the channel. As you can see, mine is maxed out. Level 20 Ledger Domain. This helps. Having that maxed out helps greatly. Some of the Thieves Guild skills also help. So haggling, for example, stolen items at a fence are worth 4% more, does not apply to laundering. Swiftly Forgotten, in the event that you do something and you pick up a bounty, it will help reduce the bounty and the heat. And this one right here is my personal favorite, which is Clemency. So when a guard accosts you, you may use Clemency once per day. If used, the guard will not arrest you or take your money and stolen goods. Additionally, guards will not attempt to accost you for 1 minute after you use it, unless you commit other crimes. And then there are a couple in here like Timely Escape. When you have a bounty and are in combat, you have a chance to spot a footpad in a town with a refuge. So you must be in a town that has an outlaw's refuge in order for the footpad. When you interact with it, it will transport you safely into the nearest refuge. And then there's Veil of Shadows, which decreases detection range of witnesses and guards by 10%. Witnesses and guards are thus less likely to notice criminal actions, though this has no impact on the range from which guards will accost you. So if you already have a bounty and you have some heat, this is not going to help you. But anyhow, back to the point. The reason this one will get simpler over time, if you're committed to it, as Ledger Domain levels up, because you pick up skills like Light Fingers, which increases the chances of successfully pickpocketing by 50% when it's maxed out. So I'm just going to read what I've got. Improved Hiding, which reduces the cost of sneak. Trafficker, you can increase the number of fence interactions each day by 180%. Locksmith improves your chances of forcing locks by 70%. And Kickback, which reduces bounties you willingly pay to guards and fences by 40%. Now, if you're stealing for gold, you're not going to be paying it to guards, but you'll at some point, if you're picking up bounties and heat, you're going to end up paying to a fence to get rid of it. That way you don't have to worry about walking around town and coming up on a guard. Now, so we'll go ahead and get into it. there are different, what's a good way to put this? There are different odds for stealing from different NPCs, like when it comes to pickpocketing. Okay, so setting right here is a noble. The noble is going to have a higher chance to have better loot, and we're going to see if it raises. There we go. All right, that's guard. So we'll back up. Anytime that you go about pickpocketing, you can actually pickpocket 3 times. The general recommendation is to pickpocket twice and then use the Blade of Woe to get the last item. All NPCs have 3 items that you can pickpocket from them. And each time you successfully pickpocket, it becomes more difficult to successfully pickpocket from the same NPC. See, a minute ago, the chance was higher, even without the bonus. See, now we're at a 75% chance. See if we can get it. Alright, see, now that one caught me. So, I picked up a bounty. I have a little bit of heat. All I gotta do is avoid the guards. And we're gonna do that right over here. Alright, so that, let's see here. That's a fighter. 100% chance. And you can tell what quality, like, you can get a good idea of how much gold you're going to make based on the visual quality of the items that you steal. Green ones, you know, obviously are better than a white, and you can pick up blues. Sometimes you can get furnishings that are worth really good amounts of money. That to get the benefit out of that, or the most benefit out of that, you are going to want to be in a guild for that. So, you know, just be aware of that. And I'm wondering if we can actually get the last one. Okay, yep. So we didn't have to kill that one, that NPC. Come on, there it is. Okay. All right. And then let's see here. Your bed, and also I'll add this. You want to be in sneak. You want to be sneaking when you do this. This is a noble, 70% chance. Leather Vash Ball. So that is a higher quality item than we have stolen thus far. And out of, or I guess to keep this particular section of the video as short as possible, sometimes you'll come up on NPCs that are just, you have 100% right out of the gate. See, 95%, there's 100%. I got a recipe out of that. I can use a Blade of Woe here and just go ahead, get rid of it. All right, now there is an Outlaw's Refuge in this town, and it is right here. So, since we have a bounty, we're going to do a little bit of sneaking. Let's see. That's a guard. We need to get away from the guard. You know what? Let's just run. We're going to run, because I still have the option to use clemency today. So, we'll get to the Outlaw's Refuge. We'll launder or whatever we need to do. Whatever seems like the best option. Is that a guard? Yep, that's a guard. Okay. Alright, so there it is. Alright. Now to demonstrate, sometimes you want to make a decision, especially if you're in a guild, you want to make a decision about what to do with the items that you have stolen. Okay, now here's a fence. So a whopping 14 gold to clear the bounty. Let's just go ahead and do that because we're going to make it back on one sale. Okay, alright, so the tonsil tingle tonic, I already have that recipe, so I'm just going to sell it. Alright, treasures, 104, that's 208 because I have 2 of them. 104, 104, 104, 104, that's 260, 104, 42. Alright, so we didn't have anything to launder, but 10 items out of 140 made 1,000 gold. Okay, and that's, 10 items. You can do 140 items, and honestly, you can make decent gold, running some of the routes that we've shown on the channel that are really for leveling up. The best things are places to steal from if you can get to them, and we will eventually have some videos out that show some good routes for stealing for gold, like routes specifically for stealing to farm gold. The best places or the best things to steal from are nobles, or just NPCs, and nobles number one if you're pickpocketing. NPCs that have lower chances of success generally carry or have the opportunity to steal higher quality loot from them. And like I mentioned, you can get furnishings, which would be something you would want to launder and not fence, because then you can turn around and sell it on a guild trader. Now, I will say this. I also want to point this out real quick. Hold on. If I can get the... What in the heck is going on here? Great. Alright. Not sure what happened. I'll probably cut this. Okay. Alright. I don't really know what happened there, but yeah. ESO is ESO. ZOS is real good. I'm kidding. They did make a really good game. Okay, so now none of this obviously is going to be sold, but to show my point, I use the Tamriel Trade Center add-on. There are a couple of different ones that you can use, but I use TTC. And the reason you would want the benefit in doing that is down, if you look at the bottom of the tooltip, specifically for the Amulet of Dark Convergence, you can see at the bottom TTC suggested price is 1,674 to 2,093. That's usually the best price to list at on a guild trader. It's also going to show you the lowest, which is 150 gold. The max is 70,000 gold. And the average is 71.49. Let's see here. There are no amulets of wretched vitality. Okay, so you have the breaches of vicious death. Okay, this is for the PvP build that I'm working out on this character, but you can look down at the bottom. It'll give you an idea, again, of how much gold you can sell it for. If you get this item and you list it, you can list it and sell it. And I say and sell it because it will sell. You may wait a week, you may wait a day. It may sell the same day. But 107,900 all the way up to 134,900. That's good gold for one item. Now that's, it didn't come from stealing, but my suggestion is to get something you know, get an add-on that if you're looking to really like drill down on farming gold, you want to get an add-on that educates you on what items values are. That way you're not underpricing yourself or overpricing yourself. You want to be able to price it in a way in which it is very likely to sell, right? So anyhow, that is method number 3. So I swapped over to the my crafting and harvesting build armory slot for this, just to show how efficient exactly this can be. We're here in Cold Harbor at the Hollow City. This is going to be a route that I have shown on the channel, but so method number 4 is farming for alchemy materials. They are a very good source of gold, and this isn't not the only place that you can do this, but fell off. All right, let's get up here. Okay, this is not the only place that you can do this, but it is one that works rather well. And if you find that you are competing with other players for the materials, it's okay, grab what you can. Okay, as you progress along, you will get better or more efficient. More efficient is the right way probably to say that. Here in the Hollow City, there are a lot of materials that are used in essence of spell power potions, which are like Lady Smock here. They go for really good amounts of gold per one. And you just kind of run the route, which as I mentioned, I have demonstrated this route on the channel. I'll link that video up. All you do is just get on, run the route. I usually, it depended on if I'm doing this or the next method. Actually, I might farm materials for, I don't know, 30 minutes a week or so. But I do have a rather efficient build for this. As you can see, I'm very quick. I have the CP slottables that get me more than one, so like I just got 2 Nern root from that. And all you have to do is go through, look, watch, put some points in so you can see it at a distance, which is why the nodes are lit up for me without me being on top of them. They did fix that step, by the way, which is something that I threw a little bit of a rage fit about when I made the video on farming the Hollow City. But this is, I don't know, it's kind of, it gets mundane a little bit, which is why I don't do it very often. But I do it enough that I keep enough gold on hand for whatever I need to do. Now, because I have made a video on this, I'm not going to exactly like get real deep off in it. But effectively what you want to do is, the best place to start that I have found is down in here. There are materials in this direction, and you just kind of run around the city. And as you come back around, let's see here. As you come back around, you will, wait a minute. You run around the city, you'll end up going down these steps. There's some materials back in here. You go through here once, and you don't want to cross this bridge. You want to go around the body of the little lake here, because there are some materials there, and you'll come back around and end up back in the same place. And by the time you're back here, the nodes are starting to repopulate. So to demonstrate why, just to show you guys that I'm not bluffing, let's see here, alchemy. Okay, so cornflower is 742 to 927 per one. I have 34. Water hyacinth is 272 to 340 per one. Lady smock 369 to 461. Nightshade even 210 to 263. Blessed thistle, you know. There are some that are rather outrageous, like clam gall. These are not ones that you're just going to pick up. It's an animal part, so it's not going to be in a node, but it's, you know, it's 1200 to 1500 per one. Columbine is right now, like, the price has really gone up. It's 1400 to 1800. If you wanted to farm dragons, you'd be in a good spot, because dragon's blood is 3100 to 3900 gold per one, and I have 40. Dragon thorn, even though it doesn't seem like much, 110 to 138. I have 104 of them. Flesh fly larva. Let's see here. Powdered mother of pearl, which is another animal part, but you know, you get the point. 2800 to 3600. Scrib jelly is one that is for sure worth farming. There is a spot in Vardenfell, which is now part of the base game, so everyone has access. You don't have to have the DLCs or anything to effectively farm scrib jelly. There's a place in Vardenfell, and there is also a place in Deshaun, where you can rack up a good number of these. 647 to 809 per one. Spider eggs, you get that. Torchbug thorax, vile coagulant. Violet caprinus does come from a node. It's 746 to 933. I find, in my personal experience, listing stacks of like 15 or 20 of these at a time is the best way to get them to sell. You can figure out what works for you. It may work differently if you're on a different server. I'm on PCNA currently, so that's just what I found works for me. But all right, that is method number 4. All right, so on to method number 5. Method number 5 is very similar to method number 4 that we just covered, or that I just covered, farming alchemy materials, except for method number 5 is going to be farming raw materials, raw crafting materials. Now, you know, you can argue that alchemy is a crafting material, but what I'm more speaking to is things that are blacksmithing, woodworking, clothing, stuff like that. So again, this has been covered on the channel, but just to demonstrate, you know, for demonstration purposes. So we're in Craglorn, in Upper Craglorn, at the Dragonstar Way Shrine. Okay. And just to make it a little bit simpler, so you'll be, let's find it here, Craglorn. Okay. All right. So where you want to go, and the reason you want to go up here, possibly we'll come across, you want to go to the Dragonstar Way Shrine, and there are materials out in this direction, and you just come down, make a loop around, loop back up around by the body of water here, come back to the Way Shrine. You can go out this way if you want to, but this is usually enough to do it. And let's see if I can get the mini map to pull up, because the add-on is like broken. It's not gonna happen. All right. Anyway, so you just run west, and you do want to be aware that there are. I gotta zoom out a little bit on this because I want to have a better field of vision. So you do want to be aware that there are a good number of encounters that you could possibly have here, so it's a good idea to bring either damage or damage, it's a good idea to bring damaging abilities. There is a mixture of things that you can get here. The reason that farming Craglorn specifically is a good choice is because of Nern Crux that you can get. Now, let's kill these things if I can, or I know I can, but let's go ahead and kill all this stuff off so that way. Alright. Okay, there's a chest. That's that force lock ability I was talking about. Look, we got an ancient sandstone that sells ancestor silk. The things that you want to grab in order to be the most efficient that you can be are blacksmithing materials, clothing materials, things like that. I usually, as I run through, I grab everything, but I'm not suggesting necessarily that you do that, because Nern Crux does not come from everything. Now this area here is a bit spread out, so you do have to kind of, you can run the edge of it, but you do, if you want to get a hold of all of it, you do have to run through it a little bit to have access to all the materials. I'm hoping to grab something that ends up giving Nern Crux. It's RNG based as to whether or not you actually get Nern Crux, but by grabbing the right things, which is not what I just picked up. Columbine is not one of them. To increase your chances, you just want to spend your time focusing on blacksmithing materials and things like that, jewelry materials. Anytime you can get a jewelry node, real good idea. Like this right here, there's a jewelry node. Wasn't close enough, so I jumped. The benefit in picking up what I'm going to call what I'm calling crafting materials, as opposed to alchemy materials, is you can sell the raw material, and you can also you can refine it. There's a violet caprinus. You can refine it, and if you have enough skill points and the right setup, then you can end up with gold materials to sell, such as chromium platings. You can end up with dray wax, tempering alloys, rosin for woodworking, things like that. And those are very good sources of income. The only real way to take advantage of that, either raw material or refined material, is by being in a guild. So you have access to a guild trader, because you're not going to get I've never tried to sell it any other way but on a guild trader, to be quite honest. But they go for some of those items go for very large amounts of money, or amounts of gold. It did look like there are some other people running this, so it's going to be probably a little bit sparse on the materials. Let's see here. There's an ore. Trying to demonstrate. I was hoping to be able to demonstrate, hey, you can get Nerncrux. Purified water, I am not getting that. Alright, so here's the body of water that I was talking about. You know, and you can pick up what you want to pick up, but to maximize what it is that you're doing whenever farming materials in Craglorn, you want to be picking up specific materials. Such as the blacksmithing, such as the clothing materials, jewelry crafting, woodworking. And there are two types of, if you don't know, there are two types of Nerncrux that you can get. One is potent, and potent Nerncrux is actually worth more than fortified Nerncrux, but fortified Nerncrux is also a good source of income. That particular part of this is not necessarily consistent, but there we go, kill that pet off. But it is, you know, available to you. So to demonstrate what I'm talking about, all right, so blacksmithing materials, right? Rubidite ore goes for up to 110 per 1 ore. So a stack of 300 times 110, right? You also run into furnishing materials as you're going through it. That's 100 per 1, so 4,600 gold right there. And these are all the materials that you can get from refining. Tempering alloys are currently, 15.4 to 19.3. That's good. Grain solvents, if you happen to spare, you can sell grain solvents for 650 to 800 per 1. Let's see here. Let's look at the clothing. So raw materials, raw ancestor silk goes for 223 to 279 per 1. Rawhide scraps which would be your, so this is light armor crafting. This is medium armor crafting. That's 75 to 94. The tannins, the hemmings are not so great. Dray wax, 30,600 to 38,200, which is why I recommend refining. Elegant lining is 468 to 584 per 1. Embroidery is not really all that great either. And then you do have, you have furnishing materials in clothing. So you have Bast, which is 45 to 57, and you have Clean Pelt, which is 14 to 17. And I understand that that's not a line, but if you're doing this, it does rack up over time. Woodworking. Okay, raw materials for woodworking. Rough ruby ash is 51 to 64 per 1, and some of these actually are a bit odd. So like rough mahogany, because of the nature of it crafts CP70 to CP80 gear. It's very specific, and all of these are, but 58 to 72, Nightwood's the same, let's see here, look at the resins. So your mastics, which are, in my opinion, a little bit overpriced, but 1,400 to 1,800 per 1. Rosin is the cheapest gold material, 3,500 to 4,400 per 1. Furnishing materials, this would be heartwood. I don't have any right now. All of mine is listed. It sells for a good price. Oh, look at that. I forgot I had those. All right, so raw material, platinum dust, 430 to 540 per 1. Let's see here. So, all right, there's a difference. Okay, you have raw plating and platings, because you can refine the raw platings into platings. So chromium grains per 1 go for 28.9 to 36.2. I'll be listing those. Zircon grains, and these are not platings, these are raw platings. So 10,003 to 12,009. And then if we go over and look at platings, iridium platings are 16,008 to 21,000. Even turn platings, so green materials, sell for a good price, 3,100 to 3,900. Zircon platings, as you can see, are 107,000 to 134,000. And then again, you have crafting or furnishing materials. People do buy these. They probably sell. They're some of the fastest items that sell. Let's see here. Enchanting. So there are a couple that sell for, let's see here, aspect runes. So Kuda sells for 6,200 to 7,800. Not really anything else impressive in that. There are some of these stones, like this one here, 73,000. That's the prismatic stone. Furnishing materials, mundane runes sell for 1,200 to 1,500. You get that for just hitting a runestone node, harvesting it. Provisioning, you got decorative wax, 7,900, or sorry, 795 to 994. And these sell fast. Heartwood sells fast, and you can even you can sell, style materials. Ancient sandstone is 1,100 to 1,300 for crafting in the regatta style. These particular materials, I find they sell well. For me, anyhow, they sell well in stacks of 5, because a stack of 5 is a full set. I'm assuming is what the mentality is, but some of these sell for really, really, really good prices. Artisan sprocket, 3,100 to 3,900. Let's see here. Where is? I'm trying to find one. Daedra heart you pick up everywhere. It's for crafting in Daedric style, 164 to 204. You can just list an unreal amount of stacks. Dragon bones sell good. Let's see here. There is Dwemer frames you come across a lot of. Right now I only have 37 because I have listed quite a few here recently, but 800, effectively 800 to 1,100 per one. Let's see here, ancestral. There's the filed barbs for the Crimson Oath style, 380 to 480. Even trade items. So let's see here, where's it at? I thought I had. Oh no, I listed them. Slaughterstone for the bloodthirsty trait, 10,000 to 12,000. This is not quite so easy to come across. But Debellum you do come across. Titanium you do come across. That's 1,400 to 1,800. Debellum is 5,600 to 7,000, and that's the harmony trait, which is, it's extremely specific, but it will sell. So, all right, that has been method number 5. So we're going to go ahead and get into method number 6. All right, on to the last method. Number 6 is daily zone quests. Okay. Now, this is going to sound, I guess a little bit unfair, because if you have just the base game, then you don't necessarily have access to everything. But most zones have daily quests, like Vardenfell has Ashlander dailies. The most profitable ones, I will say, are the DLC zones. So, like Somerset is a very profitable daily can be a very profitable daily quest. Because when you do a daily, so when you turn in a daily quest, you have the opportunity to get set items from the zone. So like if you're doing the dailies in a new zone, those items are going to be worth, more because they're new to the game. And they are overland sets, so you can sell them between players. They're not like dungeon sets. Another good place is the Reach. Another good one is, obviously, I've covered or not obviously, but one that I've covered is the Kvatch Gold Coast Dailies. There's usually one that is a world boss kill, and then there is normally one that is also a delve or something of the sort. I'm gonna just do the world boss and hope this goes quickly. I hope that the boss is not dead when I get there, basically. But to be fair, I was in Fargrave, and that is a DLC zone, but this method applies to any zones that you can do your daily quests in, because you get style pages, you get furnishings, you can, there's a lot that you have access to getting potentially. The daily quests, I will say, are the least consistently profitable. You will always make some sort of profit if you put the time and effort into doing it. My recommendation is that you pick one or two zones that you can do relatively quick, and just kind of stick with that. I'm going to mount up here, so that way I don't waste all my stamina running there. It's kind of silly that I'm a little faster than the mount when I'm on foot, but hey, it's it is what it is. Anyway, the best way to approach this is to pick just a couple of zones. You don't want to have to run through a ton of different zones to get have I passed it? I have passed it. The mini-map is not keeping up. Wow. Sorry about that. Anyhow, you just want to pick a couple of zones and do those. Ones that maybe you want the items out of, or you want the style pages out of. You don't have to keep everything, and you don't have to sell everything. So, Fargrave is one that is rather profitable, especially when you get the furnishings that come out of here and the style pages that come out of here, or certain sets, I guess. Kind Marcher's Cruelty is one that sells pretty well. I don't know, and there's nobody here really, so I'm not real sure if I can get this boss killed on this character. But we're gonna try it anyway. You know why? Because YOLO. Hopefully somebody else shows up. This is always easier when there's more than one person. Not all zone, like this is a newer zone, so the content is a little more difficult. That is not true of all the zones. So, the boss is dead, so people have been here. And it'd be real great if the boss would go ahead and spawn. Alright, we got a boss spawn. Come on now. Let me fight you. It's gonna take a minute. Being alone makes for a difficult boss fight. You just have to play defensively, be careful with what you're doing. And all should go well. No, you're gonna stop doing that. Alright. Oh, look, one guy showed up. Okay. Alright. I'm just gonna teleport right back. I'm not gonna travel. So we'll go get this turned in and see what we got. Oh, come on. This process is slow. I guess you add that with mega servers though. Or you may just have that in general, I don't know. Anyhow, yeah, but so daily zone quests, you'll get a feel for it after you do them a few times, which ones seem to be more profitable. One of the most profitable is the looming shadows that I mentioned. You do have to have that particular DLC to access it. But you get, as you can see, you get a rewards coffer. Now we're gonna open it and look and see what we got. Maybe we got, there we go. For Fargrave Guardian gloves, gauntlets of the kind marcher's cruelty, and practice Fargrave stairway stone. Okay, all right. So we're gonna take all, and we're gonna look at it. All right. So this crafting motif 108 style page is worth 76,500 to 95,600 for this one item. Kind Marcher Cruelty gauntlets, which I've already collected, so it's fine for me to sell it. The minimum is 1,000. The maximum is 3,500. There are only 2 listings. I'm going to guess that's because the trait is reinforced, and the add-on that I use to determine the value of the item, or help determine the value of the item, takes the trait into consideration. Praxis is 970 to 1,200. So overall, this is not a bad haul. It's, you spend in it roughly, 15-20 minutes doing this, and that right there is 100,000 gold. There's another 1,000. There's another 1,000. So you've basically made, this is just shy of 100,000 gold. So you basically made 100,000 gold. You have the potential to make this when you do a daily zone quest. So, all right. Well, I guess to wrap things up, I wanted to make this video. Spy and I discussed it a little bit. We see a lot of videos out there that claim that you can make tons and tons of gold in, really short periods of time, which is, it's partially true, but it's not as true the way as it's presented to be. But the 6 methods that we have covered here, or that I've covered here, they are all consistently profitable. They may not always be like, daily quests in zones may not always be consistently extremely profitable, but they will be consistently a source of gold that you can do on a daily basis. And if you pick a couple of them, then you're upping your chance of ending up with an item that is worth a good amount of gold. So, to wrap things up, you have your daily crafting writs, which I would suggest doing on more than one character. You can farm dungeons for dungeons, dolmens, things like that. You can farm those for gold. You get the gold from the kills. You get the gold from the loot that you pick up, because it's overland unless you're farming group dungeons, in which case you can just sell it to a merchant, and that is a legitimate, source of gold, source of income in Elder Scrolls Online. You can farm crafting materials like blacksmithing, jewelry crafting, woodworking, clothing, things like that, even rune stones, and then alchemy material farming, which, again, like I said, you can make the argument because it is a daily crafting writ, but it's a little bit different because the values are a little bit different, and the way you go about deciding what you're going to do with them is a little bit different. You can steal for gold, because the Elder Scrolls, one big part of it is stealing, and then zone daily quests. If you consistently do those methods, if you consistently use those methods, you will have more than enough gold to do what you need to do, and then some. So, I hope this has been informational. I hope that you have at your disposal some methods to go about farming gold that will work on a consistent basis. They're doable for literally everybody. You may have to be, if you don't have the DLCs, you may have to pick and choose, from different zones other than the one that I just demonstrated in, or the one that I just ran a daily quest in. But nonetheless, these 6 methods will work for you always. They will generate a good amount of gold. It's not gonna make you rich overnight, but it's gonna make enough gold that you're not gonna want for gold. You'll be able to buy whatever you need to buy off guild traders or whatever. If you need to keep stock, keep repair kits in stock, things like that, you're good to go. Just pick a couple of these, or you can do them all. They don't take very much time. Pick a couple of them, and complete them and see where they land you, and then tomorrow start again. Anyhow, that is all I've got for this video. Before I go, I do want to say, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share it. I'm sure you have buddies that play as well, or guild mates, things like that. Take a look around the channel. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that bell icon. That way you get notified every time we drop a video. And one last thing, or I guess a couple of more things before I go. We have a couple of different ways that you can go about helping to support Spy Pie Gaming. We have Spy Pie Gaming t-shirts that are available now for purchase. I'll make sure to put the link up in the top corner and also in the description. If you would like to donate directly to the channel, you can now do so, or you can do so through the button that is below all of our videos that says thanks. It's shaped like a heart. And here in the last couple of days, we have now gotten our Patreon up and running, where you can become a patron of Spy Pie Gaming. You will have access to things. You're going to have access to a patron-only Discord server that has voice and text, where you have direct access to us, myself and Spy specifically, at all times. That way we can interact, because we love interacting with our community. we love interacting with the audience, the player community, and ESO. It's just, we get a lot of joy out of this game, and we like sharing the experience with other players. Right now, the benefit of being a patron is the Discord channel. We are also going to be adding content that is not, it'll be patron only content that will be uploaded to Patreon. That way you can see us, in our natural habitat, if you will. Anyhow, that's all I've got. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.